You thought you could marry my son? Your standard doesn't match ours. Don't you dare dream of joining us. Anyway, the point is, you're not the right person for my son. Now, leave. That's how coldly father-in-law spoke to me. And mother-in-law got in on the act too. You would have approached Alex for money anyway. My name is Kate. I'm 34 years old and I work for a company. Since graduating from university, I've been working for the same company for years. Some of my coworkers left the company to start their own business, get married, or have children. In such situation, I stayed at the same company and devoting myself to the work every day. You might think I'm a lonely, workaholic woman, but I'm not. Because I have a boyfriend named Alex. Alex was a business partner. I thought of him as a nice young man who took his work seriously. As we worked together several times, we began to attract to each other. He confessed his feelings for me, and we started dating. It's been a few years since we started dating. Now, we even engaged. But if you ask me if I'm not worried about marrying him, I have to admit that there are some things that worries me. Because he's still young, even younger than me. I wonder if he would be okay with me being so much older than him. Although he says the age doesn't matter. By the way, his father is a business owner. Alex himself works for his father's company. That means that in the future, Alex will take over the company and become its president. I'm afraid his parents will oppose our marriage. I'd been feeling uneasy about it for a long time. Of course I was happy when he asked me to marry him, but I wonder if we can really get married. However, Alex didn't seem to mind at all. His optimism was one of the things I found attractive about him. He had already met my parents and often have nice dinner together. My parents had already agreed that we are getting married, and my parents like Alex very much. Finally, the day came to go see Alex's parents. For weeks, I had been so nervous about visiting them. It was a spectacular house, as expected where president of the company lives. It was a huge mansion that made me wonder if I was in a royal palace or something. At the moment, I instantly began to wonder if my clothes were appropriate for this place. I had indeed prepared some fine clothes for the occasion, but I was not sure if they were good enough. I am from a normal family. It would be a world of difference compared to Alex's house. Alex would treat me a nice meal at a fancy restaurant, and when we went on a vacation, he would always book expensive hotel rooms. He thinks that sort of things is completely normal, and I sometimes felt that he lived in a different world from me. Even so, he never puts his values on me, and he never bragged about being rich. I don't judge people by the money. I fell in love with you because of your personality and your inner beauty. At first, I questioned myself why he was dating an older and attractive woman like me. But his sweet words made me believe that he was genuinely taking me for who I am. In other words, because we love each other inside out, Alex and I are getting married. I think I have met a really wonderful man. So I want his parents' approval for this marriage. Don't worry, babe. I've already told my parents about you. He tried to encourage me. Then the front door opened, and his mother welcomed us. Welcome. You must be Kate? Yes, I'm Kate. Nice to meet you. His mother gave me a quick nod and let us in. And there was this huge living room. Alex's father was there, waiting for us, sitting on a big, luxurious, fluffy sofa. I felt nervous all at once. Of course, I was nervous when I met his mother, but his father was even intimidating, as you would expect from the president of a company. It is a pleasure to finally meet you. My name is Kate. Thank you for inviting today. My voice was turned upside down. Alex looked at me and smiled. Don't be so nervous. But his parents were not smiling at all, and were staring at me with very cold eyes. I could feel my spine stiffen. Please, sit down. His father told me to sit down on the sofa. It's like a job interview. Well, no. Excuse me? His father said that the moment I sat down. And mother followed and agreed him. Hey Mom, Dad, what are you guys doing? What do you mean, no? It's rude to say such a thing. Alex was upset and tried to defend me, but his parents didn't seem to listen. How old are you, anyway? You look pretty old to me. I'm 34. Oh dear, 6 years older than Alex. How can we accept Alex marrying on an older woman like you? That's what his mother said. Besides, it's already too late for you to have children, isn't it? We need someone who can give us grandchildren. As for me, I think it has to be a young woman, at least younger than Alex. I knew they would mention my age. And you're single at your age? I can't help but think you have some kind of problem. Maybe you are too difficult or have a bad personality. Something like that. Mom, what are you talking about? Kate is a wonderful person with a great personality. Then why hasn't she married before? His mother's sharp question exploded. Excuse me. I know I'm a little older to be married, but I love my job and I wanted to work harder. I've always prioritized my work over marriage. That's why I didn't get married until I reached this age. It wasn't until I met Alex that I realized I wanted to get married. I was almost overwhelmed by the pressure from his parents. I tried my best to spin my words. But his parents' attitude didn't change at all. Want to work harder? It's not like the company you work for is a big one. Even if you work hard and get promoted, you don't get paid much, do you? I think you should focus more on making yourself more attractive as a woman. You know, it would be nice if you get... Yes, even at your age, you can still look a little better. Maybe some plastic surgery would help. Honey, that's too straightforward. I saw how his parents laughed for the first time. But that was when they made fun of us. I was so shocked and angry, I didn't know what to say. You thought you could marry my son? Your standard doesn't match ours. Don't you dare dream of joining us. Anyway, the point is, you were not the right person for my son. Now, leave. That's how coldly father-in-law spoke to me. My mother-in-law got in on the act too. You would have approached Alex for money anyway. I don't know how you fooled my son, but you can't fool us too. That's enough. You guys can say whatever the hell you want. But it's my life. I'm gonna decide who I'm marrying to. Alex was trying to defend me, and I stopped him. I see. I understand how you feel. But it's quite impolite of you to say such horrible things to me, despite the fact that we just met. I don't care if you were rich or not. It's not important to me. But if I were to become rich, I definitely do not want to be like you. I said that and stood up. We wouldn't have to have any more conversations, and I walked out to leave his parents' house. You've got to be kidding me. Don't you dare insult us, you beggar. We'll never allow you to marry my son. I don't want to be related to people like you anyway. When I said that, his father fought back at me. You're such a disgraceful person. I'd like to see the face of the parents who raised a woman like you. I ignored him and left my parents in Lo's house. Their attitude was just too much. I walked outside in frustration. Then Alex came running up to me in a panic. Kate! I'm sorry. I never thought my parents would say something like that. I mean, it was a horrible thing to say. But maybe it's a good thing. It would have been a lot more pressure if we get married in that situation. Anyway, I'm leaving them. I'm not taking over Dad's company. I'm quitting that company too. You shouldn't make such a decision in a rush. I'm not. I really do love you, Kate. We didn't get together for money. So, there should be no problem if I leave the house. Well, that's true, but... Let's go to your parents' house and tell them about this. He pulled my hand and started walking. My parents were surprised at our sudden visit, but they welcomed us warmly. While having tea, we told my parents about what happened. My father listened to us without saying a word. Alex, your father's company is called Space C, right? And your father's name is Patrick Smith? Yes, but why? That's what I thought. I see. Why don't we go with you to your parents' house now? Dad, what's going on? Because they said they wanted to see our face, right? Let's go show our face then, shall we? My father is not the type of provoked or anything like that, so I was surprised. But my father was ready to go, so we had no choice. We ended up going to his parents' house again. This time, Alex's father answered the door, not the mother. You again. I won't forgive you, no matter how many times you come back. Whose daughter you think you were talking to, Patrick? Father-in-law looked at my father, rolling his eyes. It took him a few seconds to finally recognize something. Mr. Anderson? Is that you? You finally remembered. Your daughter? That means her father is you? That's right. She's my only daughter. We had her later in our marriage. By the way, how dare you insult my precious daughter? Have you forgotten what I told you back then, for 3 years? No, you see, when you were arrested for smoking and drinking, or even caught shoplifting, I covered for you and gave you a chance to become a better person, didn't I? I did all that I could do, so that you could get a decent job. Didn't I teach you that no one can live alone, and we all support each other? And yet, as soon as your company is successful, you've forgotten all that, haven't you? I apologize for that. Alex's father is now fragile, a complete change from what we was before. If you were to be the president of a company,
You need to treat people with compassion. You think you're better than others because you were successful? Aren't you looking down on people when you shouldn't?
Well, that's... Apparently, he seems to have an idea what's being said.
Oh, in that case, my boss always says his stomach hurts from stress. Dad, are you harassing him? What are you talking about? I'm just giving him a hard time because I expect better of him.
Father-in-law is starting to come unraveled.
Just when I thought you'd finally come to your senses, you're back to your old self. You're a real pain in the ass, you know that, Patrick? First of all, I want you to apologize my daughter for insulting her. Yes, I am sorry, Kate.
Father-in-law bowed his head to me, accused by my father. It seemed that the master-slave relationship that's ingrained in our bodies when we were students is a relationship that is difficult to change.
Honey, you should apologize to her as well.
Mother-in-law bowed her head as well. I was relieved that his parents apologized to me.
Hey, I'm leaving this house, and I'm leaving the company too.
At that point, Alex told his parents that.
His parents were in a panic. Wait a minute! If you leave, who's going to take over?
Your father's right. You're the only one we have left.
I'm sick of you controlling me over everything. I am going to start my own company and see how far I can go on my own. And I'll marry Kate, as I promised. Thanks for everything.
Alex bowed his head to say goodbye to his parents. They were both frozen up. They turned completely pale. But we left them behind anyway. My father had been a high school teacher until his retirement. I had no idea that Alex's father was one of his students.
I looked up the company Alex works for on their website. Then, Patrick's picture came up. At first, I was happy to see that a student of mine had achieved something great. You can't be so blinded by money, forgetting what's important.
My father was a very dedicated teacher, and he was always strict about such things. After a while, Alex really quit his job and started his own business. I supported him as I continued working. Alex seems to be talented being a business owner, and his company is making profit at an early stage. And of course, we married and became husband and wife. We live with joy every day, supporting each other. As for my father-in-law, he was sued by some of his subordinates for power harassment. Since that caused the stock price to drop, he was dismissed from his position as a president. After all, no matter how well things are going, I realize that humbleness and compassion are absolutely necessary. I'm grateful I have a role model as my father. I will cherish everything he taught and try to live my life with dignity. Please subscribe to our channel if you like. See you in the next video.